Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode of 3 Success Tips with Charik Javed. And today we are honored to have Nicole all the way from West Coast, the other part of the world, from Portland, Oregon. Welcome Nicole to the show.
Hello, and Share, correct? Did I say that right?
Yes, correct.
Awesome. I want to make sure because sometimes when you have different names from different places, it can be really challenging.
That's exciting to have you, and the name you pronounced correctly. So Nicole has an educational background in conflict resolution, industrial organization, and she is an expert of psychology at workplace. She has. So in the background, you can see her book also. The link is in the description. And she is author of 4 books, and she is also been a TEDx speaker. So that is very, very interesting and inspiring. And she will tell about a little bit about how we can about the workplace things which we have to take care, and in the end also we will hear 3 wonderful tips for our viewers. So welcome Nicole to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I love workplace culture and how to make it more effective because I really believe that when we have our economy flourishing, people are flourishing, and that creates happiness. It can.
Yes, of course. And you see, especially when we are focusing on business in this podcast, and when people are starting business, different kind of personalities come together and form a startup, and there can be a lot of stress in the start. So these things are very important. So tell me, let's start from the beginning. So you told me earlier that you come from an entrepreneurial family. So how did your early days from the university start, like career started? So how did you start?
So I had worked in various workplace cultures. And again, like you said, my family was very entrepreneur-like. I've also been involved in advocacy work for equity and for people to have disabilities in the workplace. And what I found is there's a lot of conflict because people aren't connecting. And so I began researching how, because you could have one employee that's like slacking and they favor them, and the other employee who's working hard and they get fired. And so you hear that all the time. And now we're having this, it's already been low engagement, but they're calling it quiet quitting. We're having more of that. And so part of it is we're not knowing how to effectively communicate who we are. And when we're talking about who we are, we're also talking about what we need. And so it's learning how to effectively communicate that and not judge and not tell someone, oh, you can't be that way. I need you to be this way. Well, then you need to put more clear descriptions in your workplace. And we can talk about that a little bit further
Yeah, so
on.
that means that we have to avoid being judgmental and really improve our communication skills,
Yeah.
because it can stop the progress. We can hurt others and it can stop the progress. So tell
And you
us
can
about
lose
more
really
about
good
it.
talent because of it.
So as a young CEO, for example, or a young business owner, and with employees coming from different cultures and new in the team, how can we make sure that we don't make so much mistakes in this regard? Because we don't know them yet.
So part of it is we all have body language that's going to show what our personality type is going to be and what we're communicating, because we're always communicating who we are, what we need. Is learning to listen to what people actually say. The other thing when you're dealing with other cultures, and I want to make something very clear before I go to other cultures, a lot of times people will miss out on really good talent because they go, oh, this person has a disability. Instead, they're not looking at the capability. And when we don't hire people from multiple backgrounds, multiple cultures, genders, all those things, we can miss out on talent, because where innovation really comes from, according to studies that I have studied on, is where you are having men, women, LGBTQ, and you're having people with disabilities, and you're having people from all these different cultures, because your customers are going to come from different perspectives. So they get to help with
Absolutely.
customer perspective. So one of the tips I have that I tell everyone, and I learned this in my undergrad, is Hofstede's country comparison. You want to know about how to work with different cultures. That will give you more of a general idea of if you're going to work with America, or you're going to work with Japan, or you're going to work with Germany. How do they see masculinity versus femininity? And so that is a great resource to understand when you're working with multiple cultures.
Good. So also tell us about your experience at TEDx Talk. So what did you talk about there? And then, of course, the link is in the description. People can watch. And then we will talk about this journey of writing the books, how this is started.
So the TED Talk came kind of out of the books. And one of the things I know is workplace is so vital, but if you don't have a healthy life outside of your workplace, or your workplace isn't a work-life balance, you're not going to have happy employees. Most likely you're going to have people who are drained. And so part of personality
So
communication
important.
is knowing who you are, so you know how to communicate in the outside world. So our first TED Talk was done on how you find your ideal person in dating. Now, the thing with it is when you're writing a you don't want to date each other in the workplace, but when you're writing a job description, it's like you're writing a dating profile in a lot of ways. Is you're saying, this is why you want to come work for me. This is why I'm a good employee. So even though that TED Talk is about dating, you can learn a lot about connections and how people find their ideal person. You can learn how we choose who we want to be friends with. And that's also going to make a great impact in our workplace. It's Gary, he's a wine guy out of New Jersey. I can never say his last name. He talks about hiring people who their strengths are his weakness, and his weaknesses are the opposite. You hire
Opposite, yes. So that's the real team, and we all grow together. We complement each other. Spot on. That is also the same when we are doing finding business co-founders, for example. When in the beginning the startups don't have money to pay, but they want to have a product. So if somebody is good in tech, like me, is a technical background, but he has no experience in sales, then I need a co-founder who is a sales background, and also the diversity to reach the different kind of customers. And okay, so tell us how this journey of idea became to start writing the books. And you talk about a special model that you developed. So tell us about that also.
Okay, so when we started writing the books, it was after we had done some research on seeing, oh my gosh, these are the 6 patterns. People need to understand how to communicate effectively with each other and resolve conflict. And so one of the things I noticed about personality models was they're great, but they tell me all about me, but not about you. And if I want to live by myself and work by myself and never talk to anyone, that's great. But if I want to talk to you and get to know you, I have to know how you communicate and what your needs are. It's an exchange. And so we could have just stuck with the workplace. However, again, people have lives outside. So we started doing what would impact people in the workplace if they weren't healthy. That's how we started writing the books. And that's how we developed the model. And we wrote small individual books because we thought some people may want to know more about parenting and not, or may want to know about a romantic relationship. And now we're putting together trainings so that people can actually go with these small books. And we're putting one big book together, and we're also writing a book on dark personalities. And that can be very important in the workplace.
Okay, now
workplace.
This is very interesting. These dark personalities can be negative, but there are ways to make them light, positive personalities. We can change them.
No, it's knowing how to have them not maybe enter your workplace, or knowing if they do, how to navigate it. There are a lot of things around brain chemistry, and there's also differences in dark personalities between people who go slightly under the radar and people who are your criminals. And so those are kinds of some of the things we'll be talking about in the book, and making sure your job description is really, really clear on what you want. I mean, this is something that I am very, very strong on. What is your mission statement? What do you want to attain for your business, for your life? And the clearer you are, and the healthier you are in your mission, is going to not attract people who are going to be more dark personalities or take your business down.
Very good. Thanks. These are really insightful things, and we have to go to listen to your TEDx talk, and I will tell the viewers to listen to them. And the website, the link tree is also shared here, so you can reach out to Nicole and see her work and understand. So Nicole, we will go next towards some of the tips that, for example, young business owners, already you gave some tips, like for when we're hiring people, we have to be very careful. It's not just about the talent or tech talent, but also about the culture, about the personality, if they will gel into your business. They will have the same vision like you. Like I was watching some interviews recently. Like for example, they were talking about Chick-fil-A. Like Chick-fil-A, for example, it's a brand for the US. It's only a chicken fast food brand in US. So from management to a person, everybody wants to make the guest very special. So they gel together. So what do you think can be the most important 3 tips from your side for the young business owners in the first year of business?
So the first thing I would do even before you, one of the things I've done is I created a vision portrait. And I know this is going to sound a little like, what? It's like a vision board. And what I did was I put what I wanted. They're like words coming out of my head. So what I'm doing is I'm keeping my dream or my goals or however you want to phrase that in front of me. When I walk by it, I know it's with my picture, it's with words coming out. I actually hired someone to draw a picture of me and my co-collaborator and put words around our heads for our business. It also helps me keep on track when things don't seem like they're going well or they're going fast enough. That's the tip one, is really set your intention so strongly that when basically beep hits the fan, you know, you're not covered in it. You can keep moving forward. That's tip number one.
I think that is really, really very important, and I can relate with my experiences. And okay, let's move to tip number 2.
Tip number 2 is after you've done that, really know where your business wants to go, your mission statement. That is really vital because that's going to define you. That's going to define your company. That's going to start to define where you're going, what you want to do. I mean, the vision portrait is great because you've got like, okay, I want a TED Talk or I want this. But when you really start to define it more, so you're going down and defining it, is I want a company that's going to impact lives in da 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 da. When you have that mission statement, that is going to be key as how your company is going to be formed. A lot of times people don't realize that our names are really powerful, and our names are what help us move in life. So if you know what your name means, you kind of have an idea of where your destiny is going. That's the same as your business. So when you're naming your business, you're formulating your business, you're making sure you have that mission statement.
Very important. I have some comments on this, but we will do that after the point 3, right? About the mission statement and vision and how we align with it, right? So let's move to tip number 3.
You need to know yourself. You need to know your personality, how your personality communicates and what you need, because you're going to be able to communicate that to your employees. So if you are what we would call a more dominant personality, you want things going like this, you don't want a lot of explanations, you need to be able to explain that to your people. You need to know what you need so you can communicate it. You also need to know what your people need so you can provide that. You need to know where you stand. You need to know how to resolve conflicts. The biggest thing that could probably sink a company when they have employees is the employees, because that's how you're getting your customers to come. Your customers are relating to your employees. And when you are true to your mission statement, you've already set out these in motion, you know what you need and want, you're able to give yourself that. It's that work-life balance. We all need that. Know where you need to play, know where you need to be serious, and know how to communicate it in a skillful, healthy way.
It's such wonderful tips and viewers. I'm really excited. Nicole is sharing something really great from the other part of the world. So this thing, I think in daily lives, we forget to do self-analysis and self-reflection actually, because we're busy in so many things and one after the other, and also in personal life, not just in business life. And we also forget our life purpose or goal or mission or vision totally, because we are doing thing after the other and burning it out. And then this happened to me also recently when I was running several NGOs and trying to set up my businesses. And then I said, okay, I have to make a stop and prioritize things. I cannot do everything. And then slowly the things changed dramatically for me. So I think, but I did it without a model. But I think so that's why these models or learning these kind of things are so important, and your book can be very interesting. So what about
one thing you'll know when you start to know your personality type, you'll start to know what you need. For example, I'm about one of the things that I am is I'm about prizes and prizes that feel good. So I know with that, I could be more like, oh, I'm going to go for this and not think about it. So I have to sit back and force myself to think. So that's what I mean by knowing yourself. You will, when you just described, that's part of knowing your personality and how your personality
So
communicates.
important. So the second point you mentioned about knowing the mission and vision of the company or yourself, and it can happen. And then in the first point, we were also talking about to describe it properly so that we get the right people. Okay, but still it can happen that somehow a misfit person or personality who is a good person, very good, very talented, but maybe not aligned with the mission and vision is now part of the company. So how to move forward? Like when I think, two things are coming in my mind. Like one thing is that, okay, he's part of the team. We can give a chance and try to explain him to align in the vision mission. And if still it does not work, then maybe we have to say respectful goodbyes. So what do you think about it?
I think you need to discover sometimes what's going on, because sometimes people have things in their lives that can be preventing them from fulfilling the mission statement. I think it's presenting the mission statement to the person and having compassion for yourself and the other person. And I think that's a lot of times what we forget about employment is it's a partnership. A lot of times managers come in and go, or owners come in and go, well, this is my business. It needs to be this way, and you need to obey and be my slave. And that's not what it's about. It's about partnering. And if the person isn't partnering the way that you feel or believe they ought to be partnering, then what happens is you have that crucial conversation and you say, this is what our company is based on. How are you interpreting it? Okay, that interpretation may not be correct. Or how can you effectively follow the mission statement? Because I'm getting the idea that there's some issues here. So is there something going on? You have to go into a discovery process. I talked to a manager one time. He goes, I don't have time for that. And I'm like, well, then you don't have time for your company to prosper, because you're not working with robots. You're working with people. People have things in their lives. So it's going and discovering what's going on. Why aren't they there? Is someone do something to tick them off? And that's kind of what it is I think we jump way too quickly to conclusions and biases and judgments based on where we grew up, our life history. And then that'll prevent us from discovering what's going on. What if that person just had a death in their family, even though they just got fired? And they're going, oh my gosh, this was my mom that just died. And I haven't really told anyone because I'm so private about it. Or something happened with their kid at school. And this is why we're having some of the retention issues we're having and quiet quitting, because people aren't feeling silenced in the workplace. And when you take the time and people feel like they're heard and you're willing to work with them, they are more likely to be loyal. They're more likely to work smart for you. Many, many, many factors.
Very good. I think the two takeaway words from me here are compassion and partnering. So that means that we are not working with robots or slaves, and they can have different phases in life. We have a relationship with them. That's so wonderful. Thanks, Nicole, for wonderful 3 tips and sharing something. So in the end, I would still request you to tell us more about your books and motivate us so that we straight away go and buy the book and it will have an impact on our lives.
So the workplace book is going to be based on workplace retention, talking about putting your, DIE, which is super important, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And you can get them on Amazon. I keep them pretty reasonable.
Yeah, it's very cheap, actually, below $10 I was seeing.
Yeah. And so they're not long. They should take about 45 minutes to an hour to read. They're just kind of a basic overview. We're putting all of them together in one big book. So if people go, oh my gosh, I really like that one, I want them all in one with more information, we'll have that. And basically, if you listen to the personality communication type, there's 6. And we are there. It's based off of the same thing that like Myers-Briggs did their research on, or Enneagrams did their research on. We just did it differently because we added communication, and we really went back to Hippocrates' foundation. And so we also made them words that people would understand, because no one's going to walk up and go, hi, I'd like to hire a sanguine today. That's Greek, and none of us are speaking that way. And we realized that we speak 2 out of the 4. And so when you're speaking those 2 out of the 4, like I just said, I'm speaking what I would call important language. I'm speaking prize that has benefits. I'm speaking value language. Value is about cost versus benefit. I cannot make a decision unless I feel it's going to cost me or benefit me. Mm-hmm. So you're going to know who more of your people pleasers are. Those are usually your V people. I call them your V. Your people who are going to be more your sales people are your people who are going to have I, which they're going to be more about getting a prize. Your right people are your conceptualizers. They're always thinking, what's the best way to do something? How can I do this? Can I make it better? They're really inventive. They're people like your Martin Luther King. They can be change histories. I mean, just amazing, or they can be really rotten.
It's really interesting. Yeah. So the way you are, sorry. Yeah.
There's one more. There's the C, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
Wonderful. The C is about the environment. They need their environment a certain way everywhere they go, and they need it to be the safe. So when you combine the 2, that's what happens, and that there's a basic language they're speaking.
Very good. I think this is very important to understand the categories you described and the way of working and the way of motivating them to work even further, or like the prize they should get is totally different. Especially for the salespeople, it's not about, you cannot calculate it with the number of or a assistant in working in the office. Totally the way of working and the price is totally different, and we need to categorize them. That's so important. This is the really thing that we were also figuring out with learning and by doing and learning the hard way. And I think I will also have to read the book, because instead of making mistakes and then learning, why not learn a model and do the things straight in the right way? So one last thing from my side. So you are mentioning all of the time we. So tell us about your team who is helping you, like how many people you are in this. So you said we are writing this, we are creating a model. So tell us a little bit about it.
So I have a co-collaborator that helped me develop this, and they've they're what you would call, so I'm an IV, they're a CV. They like their environment to be safe, and they feel their environment. So they're always about feeling the safest environment, feeling the environment that works for them. And so we both meet in the V, because we're both feelers. We're both feeling, is this going to cost me or benefit me? That's how we connect. And they are like, you can be on the stage, I'll be behind the scenes, because the CV is known as a support system. They're like your support beams. They walk in a room, no one ever notices them. They're like more boring personalities, but they're great at support. They're great at systems. And so that's my co-collaborator. They help me brainstorm. We've developed we have a product that's in the works of being developed. We've done some testing on it. It's a game for kids. And so this is really what we've discovered, is that it can impact everybody pretty much, except for, I mean, we've talked to parents, we've talked to people who own businesses, we've talked to all these different things, and it's so impactful. And so what we're really wanting to do is just, that's the person, and that's behind the scenes is for me.
I think this is a wonderful team, and I can relate to it, because people need a story. So I can tell you the story that, okay, for several years I have been doing a non-profit media channel in Urdu language for expats here, and we were also a two-people team, but we're working very strongly together. But it is the beautiful contrast. Like, I want to be on the screen, and he whatever I do, he never want to be on the screen. He is very good in literature. I am very good in networking. So these are the things combining with each other. So he is good in reading. I'm not so good in reading. So he's doing all the research. But together we are growing, and we were growing as a brand. So I think these are some wonderful, insightful. This was insightful discussion, and it's very, very nice for me. At least I'm sure for all the viewers, but at least my life and my views have already changed in 15-20 minutes. So I really thank Nicole for this views. And of course, it's also about culture. She is on the other part of the world. We are sitting in Germany. We're recording this at 3 a.m. in German time in the morning, because we have to catch her and listen to this valuable, insightful talk. And I'm thankful to Nicole for your time. It was a pleasure that you came to the show. And I think now we have developed a long-term relationship. We will stay in touch, and we will learn from you. We'll get this book. And thanks to all the viewers who are always supporting us and sending us all the comments and feedback. so we can improve the show also. And I'm sure you will like. So the links are there. Look at Nicole's websites and book, and tell us about the feedback. If you have any questions, so I will compile them and send to Nicole, and individually send you in the private messages all the answers back. So thanks, Nicole, once again. It was a pleasure having you here, and thanks to all the viewers that you joined us. And our next show will be, our guest will be from UK. So it's the other time zone, but it's a little bit nearer to us. And once again, thanks, Nicole. Any last words you want to say before?
You know, I want to let people know that everybody is bringing something to the table. Everybody has something amazing to bring to the table. And a lot of times it's learning how to uncover that gem, that precious stone. And so when we start to uncover that, and when we have a dream for a business, and it is like we know, set the things in place so that dream can manifest and it can happen in a healthy way. Because what you're meant to do is you are meant to do it. And it's just setting those things in place so that you can.
Very good. Thank you very much, Nicole. And I will say everyone last word that please have a dream big. Without dreams, you cannot progress in life. And then all the people around you, they have a gift. They have some special personality. Some people are introverts. Some like to talk, some do not like to talk. But everybody has some special gift. Try to find it, and you will be successful. Dream big, work hard, take your time for self-reflection. That is very important point, and then you will definitely succeed. Thank you very much, Nicole. It was a pleasure to have you here, and thank you very much all the viewers to stay connected. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.